Welcome everybody. It's good to see you from all over, I see, and some here for the first time. It's so great. Welcome. This is IJS Online Yoga Studio, and I'm Cantor Lizzie Shamash. I'm here every Monday at 11 and really happy to welcome you to practice together in this beautiful community. So our props today are going to be blocks and a blanket. If you feel tight in your mid back or your hamstrings and forward bending is a lot for you, you may prefer a chair rather than blocks to just have less to fold. So while you're getting your props and getting yourself situated and oriented, just a couple of announcements from the Institute. Wonderful things coming up that I want to share with you and make sure you know about and can avail yourselves of. The first is this upcoming Chanukah celebration, a half-day online retreat. Really, really exciting. One of the best gifts there is. The topic is going to be rekindling the lights of compassion. And we'll be immersing ourselves in a range of spiritual modalities, mindfulness meditation, writing practice, Torah study. So the link is there, and Adi will post it again at the end as well. So you can catch it. And the second is also very special. Please join IJS together with the Museum of Jewish Heritage for a movie screening called Dying Doesn't Feel Like What I'm Doing, celebrating the life of our IJS co-founder, activist, and community organizer, Rabbi Rachel Cowan. She was an amazing, amazing soul. We owe this work that we do now in such large measure to her. So please, please sign up to attend in person or live stream that event. Adi, I don't see the date, but I think it's like December 2nd or so. We'll get back to you there with that
Yes,
one.
it's December 2nd, the date and time,
December
is
2nd.
the link.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. So let us get started. We are going to begin seated on this 18th of Kislev, making our way, Hanukkah coming soon. And taking a look today at Parshat Vayeshev. So, and Jacob dwelled or sat, literally. So let us sit comfortably. It can be in a chair, it can be propped up with blanket or block, however it's comfortable for you to sit. Please do so. Just find the grounding of your sitting bones. If you like, you can allow the eyes to close if that feels safe and comfortable. You can simply keep your gaze a little bit lowered and softened, kind of fuzz out the vision a little bit, soften the eyes. And begin to tune in to the breath coming and going. Just feeling that ebb and flow in and out. Before doing any too much shifting or fussing about with your body, just notice, do you have a tendency to be weighted a little more to the left or to the right? You don't have to quickly move in to fix it and even yourself out, but just notice. A little more to the left or a little more to the right sitting bone. Where do you feel more pressure? Do you tend to have more presence toward the front body or more presence toward the back body? Is there a sense of leaning forward, favoring that direction, or a little more leaning backward, favoring that direction? And again, you don't have to rush in to correct it, just noticing. And then what about the breath? Do you feel more present in the inhale or more present in the exhale? Do you feel more at home in one phase of the breath cycle than the other? Or do they tend to kind of be evenly measured within you? So what we do in this practice every time we come to the mat is we're just really here to gather information. To notice what's pleasant and unpleasant. To notice the body's habitual tendencies and patterns. To notice if we favor particular poses over other poses. And to do this without judgment, simply to gather the information so then we can make perhaps more wholesome choices that will move toward our freedom, move toward more compassion, move toward more space and light. Right, but we can't do that without gathering the information. So we notice, do I have a tendency to favor one over the other? One side over the other, one pose over the other? That's going to be our guiding question, our guiding kavanah today. I'll go into that a little more in a moment. Allow the eyes to open and come to cross legs if you're not already there. And place in front of you the block, or as I said, maybe the chair. If coming forward is an effort. Let's first inhale and find some length. Really find those two directions of the spine, lengthening down towards rootedness and away, lifting. And then we'll come forward, doesn't matter which shin is in front, and place the head, forehead on the block or on the chair. If you're sitting in a chair, it might be against a table. Just make a pillow with your forearms and place the forehead down. If you're coming to the block, you have three options. You have the highest one, the middle, and the lowest. Depending where you are in your day and what you've been up to, the hips might feel a little tight, so go easy. This isn't supposed to be big, just starting to feel some sensation through the hips, the buttocks. Perhaps accessing a little bit of width across the lower back and even all the way up to the waistband and the rib cage. And letting the mind anchor into the breath. And continuing to notice, do I tend to favor the inhale or the exhale? And then with as little movement as possible, come up, switch the shin so that the other shin is in front. Once again, inhale and lengthen out the spine. And then exhale, fold, and see that the forehead is placed upon something. You want to have the support. And really consciously seeing if you can place all the mental considerations, emotional considerations of your day, or the logistics of your day, just place them to the side, outside the yoga mat, outside the space, outside the room. You'll return to them in 40 minutes or so. Just making a promise with yourself that you're creating a gvul, a boundary, to stay in this space with yourself. You've given yourself this time. When other stressors encroach, you could just gently let them know, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I'll be right back to you. But right now I'm here with the breath, with the body, with each other. You can stay here longer if you like, but if you've had enough, you can come up to sit, share a little bit of teaching. You can feel free to sit with eyes closed and tall spine. Just kind of let teaching wash over you, land in your body, in your heart. So we start this week with the Joseph story. And the Parsha begins, Vayeshev Yaakov, and Jacob settled in the land of his fathers, in the land of Canaan. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz migurei aviv be'eretz Canaan. And he's really in Jacob's quest to become settled, Vayeshev. He wants to settle the strife, settle his own difficulties, but he is who he is and how he is, and seems to continue to create imbalances in his life. He's still very much Yisrael, the one who's struggling. And of course, we know that he favors Joseph over all of the siblings. The story tells us, now Israel loved Joseph best of all his sons, for he was the child of his old age. And he had made him an ornamented tunic, ketonet pasim. Vayir'u echav. And the brothers saw that their father loved Joseph more than any of the brothers, and they hated him so much. Vayisnu oto, that they could not speak a friendly word to him. And the text is Velo yachlu dabru l'shalom. And they were not able to speak of peace, of wholesome statements, of shalom. Really reminds me a lot of much of our climate today, our political climate, our social discourse, right? Velo yachlu dabru l'shalom, because Jacob favored Joseph over the other siblings. So we can look at this. So he gives him this coat of colors, right? And that's the outward symbol that he loves Joseph more than the others. And what comes of this, of course, is jealousy and rivalry. And the brothers want to kill Joseph, and they decide to sell him off, right? And tell his father that he's dead. And thus all the struggle comes now into the next generation. So Jacob is really just continuing through the generations. So we can look at the various brothers as inner parts, inner pieces of ourselves, right? As we do in the system called internal family systems in contemporary psychology, founded by Richard Schwartz. So interesting how we heal these various inner parts, and from the integrated self, the adult in the room, so to speak, how we can speak to and heal these various parts, right? So we might, back to the yoga, we might favor one part of our body over other parts, right? And then a lot of strife and struggle can ensue from that. And many times it's not conscious. Sometimes it's conscious if we have an injury or a pain, we have to favor another part of the body. But much of it is really just coming from a psychophysical attempt to work around things constantly. And we get ourselves down the line into a lot of efforting and a lot of rivalry, right, in body parts. So how can we start to see that, what we're favoring? How can we come to sit with and be respectful of all the internal parts here, the internal voices of parts of our body speaking to us, and kind of own each of them and start to do some healing in the body, right? When we do this, we don't do it just for ourselves and our own bodies, but we do it for the sake of future generations as well. So this idea, I really, in this reading, just the other day of this parasha, this phrase is what leapt up to me. V'lo yachlu dabru leshalom. Like, can we notice what is not speaking to each other peacefully and allow the causes and conditions for seeing that and beginning to work with it? So that's our question for today. Kind of looking from side to side, how we balance, how we don't balance, what we favor. And try to come into more awareness of that. So let's take the hands and interlace the fingers and draw the palms forward and then up overhead. So only if the shoulders will allow. So you can bend the elbows if you like, or even take the arms apart if that is more comfortable to you. If you're able, send the palms towards the ceiling and start to wrap the upper arm, the tricep forward, which is an external rotation of the upper arm. So those triceps, wrap them in. And keep the bottom tips of the shoulder blades down as you do this. So the head, you can move side to side. Just see that neck and head are easy. Evenly extend both sides of the waist. And then come on down. If you were interlaced, change the interlace. Take the opposite, non-habitual, usually one. And once again, come on up. And breathe evenly. And notice, is there more presence in the right or the left? Is it easier to lengthen one side of the body than the other side of the body? See if you can just notice what's there. And then bring it down. We're going to come to lie on your right side. And you might want to line the body up with the edge of the mat. So take those right fingertips and begin to walk them forward, walk them away from the body. Find opening in the right armpit as much as you can. So you're really lying along this outer seam of the body. You can use the left fingertips to prop up, so you don't want to fall forward and you don't want to fall back. You want to be even. Find kind of a Tadasana, a mountain pose. Flex through the feet, extend them, lengthen. Draw the navel in, draw the low belly in. And just find that balance point. And then we're going to bend the upper knee, bend the left knee, and take tree pose here, lying down, so that the heel comes to the whole sole of the foot comes to the inseam of the leg. So here we are in tree pose, and you might feel yourself wobble a little bit. If it's possible for you, bend through the elbow and prop up the head. Only if you can maintain that length along the armpit, lower arm. So you're finding tree pose, finding balance. And that left outer hip, left sitting bone, let it wrap around. Let that left sitting bone move toward the right inner ankle. Then if it's available to you, you're going to grab your big toe with the first two fingers and start to extend the leg. And if the arm doesn't reach like that, you could just take hold on the inside of the calf, inside of the thigh as you go up. We're trying to extend the leg, right? And you can leave a bend on the knee, that's no problem. The biggest thing here is finding our balance point and working with this left outer hip, really wrapping it under to find that length. So the point of this, and you can even just stay here with the knee bent, the point of this is not so much to straighten the leg as it is to see how does the left hip react, right? Does it just hike up, or can we really take it into length? Or do we fall over, right? So finding that balancing, and how do we align through the core in order to achieve that? And then bend the knee, come back to tree pose, find that length, and then release, and we'll come to the other side. You could just roll over to the other side if you like. I'll flip over so I'm facing you still. And now you're on your left side. So take your left arm. As you come into this mountain pose here on the floor, take your left fingertips and walk them away. Find nice length through that armpit. And feel long through the center of the body. Extend the heels, light flex on the feet. Find that balance. Good, and if you can get enough opening, and it's okay for you to then bend the elbow and prop the head up, and go ahead and do that. You don't have to, you can stay down if it hurts the neck or scrunches everything up too much. Right? And you can always come back down, walk those fingertips out, find that length. Do it again. And then from here, we're going to bend the right knee and take tree pose. And so how is it on this side, right? This is one of those poses that I think we can notice right away if we favor one side over the other. One child over the other, so to speak. Right, so that's why I chose this action for today, which we're going to take kind of through the whole lesson. How is it different on this side? And once again, can you take that right sitting bone and tuck it under the outer hip, draw it down. And then if you like, take hold of the big toe or the calf and begin to extend and open. And see if you can maintain balance. Right, so the body's going to tell you right away if it's out of alignment, because you're going to fall forward or back. Then as you're ready, bend the knee, come back to tree pose for a moment, and then release. We're going to come up to standing. Take your time, kind of bend into fetal. Start to press up. And come on up in your own time. So what we did on the floor, we're going to now take into standing. First, finding mountain pose. Interlace the hands. Press the palms forward and up. Find this lengthy mountain pose. And then release, take the other interlace, right? So we're really trying to find the length of the side body, evenly side to side. Press the feet down and release. Shift the weight over to the right foot as the standing foot. And now we'll take tree pose. So you can have your hands on a balance point in front if you like, or side to the wall. So or you can have your whole back to the wall. If balance is an issue for you, take it. Take the help. And then you'll place the foot either to the ankle or to the calf. Never to the knee. You don't want it right into the knee, or you'll come up a little bit higher. So find that tree pose on the first side. Palms can come together at the heart, or the arms can extend overhead. Palms touching, or the arms can come out to a wide V or cactus. You figure out where your tree wants to stand today. Bringing your attention in particular to that left outer hip buttock sitting bone. See if you can draw that sitting bone down towards the right inner ankle. Right, it's that action that allows for the knee to move out. And then as you're ready, release. We'll take the other side. So shifting over to the standing leg, the left leg, and then place the foot. So wherever feels right for you, right, along here. You could also just use it as a little kickstand with the toes to the floor, just here. It's a fine tree pose. And notice what it's like from side to side. And also, how's it different than when you were on the floor? Can you let the work on the floor inform what's going on as we stand? Keep the gaze soft and steady. So fixing the gaze will help with balance, but you want it to be not too tight, not too hard through the eyes. Soften the eyes. And notice that right outer hip, buttock, sitting bone. And then as you're ready, release. Okay, so we're going to take the same action now out into warrior two. Take the legs nice and wide. Turn the left toes in and the right toes out. The front heel in line with the back arch. Right? We're going to inhale the arms to shoulder height, or if you prefer, you can just keep the hands on the hips. If you want some balance, again, you can have a table or chair in front of you as we come in to this pose. Inhale, fill the space of your body. Take the gaze over those right fingertips, and then as we exhale, we're bending through that right knee and coming into the pose. Feel free to come in and out a couple times if you like. And watch the tracking of that knee. You don't want the knee to go past the ankle. And if the knee is going past the ankle, then widen your stance. And so hopefully with that tree pose warm up as well, there's a little less migration of the inner knee in. But if you see that the knee is starting to move in towards the room, take your hand even just to that place on the inner knee here and draw it back, right? So that thigh is moving forward evenly. And the action is the same. That right sitting bone, can you wrap it under you? And then as you're ready, straighten the legs, come back to center. And we'll go right to the other side, turning those right toes in, left toes out. The hands to the hips or inhaling them to shoulder height. And then exhale, bend through that left knee. Extend through the arms. Gaze is over the left fingertips. And take stock once again. See that the knee isn't coming past the ankle. And notice what's happening to the inner knee, right? So the more we can take that left sitting bone under, the more we'll get some opening through the knee. Want to keep the knee safe. Right, so noticing, does it feel easier on one side than the other? More natural? Is it easier to love one side more than the other side? And then come on back to the center. You can jump or heel toe the feet back together. And let's take mountain pose either with the feet together or with the feet hip width apart. So without any fussing. Just come to stillness. Absorb the pose, the effects of the pose. We want to keep the integrity of our intention as well as the integrity of the movement. It's kind of important not to fidget and have any extra information coming to the nervous system between poses. So now we're going to come to side angle, and you might take your blocks and place them on the sides of the mat here. You may or may not use them, or you'll see what you need. Take the legs wide, turning the left toes in and the right toes out once again. We're going to inhale, take the hands to the hips or the arms to shoulder height, and then exhale once more into warrior two. And this time we're going to take that right forearm to the right thigh and begin to prepare for side angle. So pressing the forearm down, spinning the torso open to the front of the room. You can keep the left hand to the hip, or you can draw the fingers up the outer seam of the shirt and start to extend the arm. And you might stay here, you might come to a block or hand to the floor, again, depending on how open you are in your hip. So the action, once again, is the same. Notice how it feels on this side. One nice long line from the outer left foot to the left fingertips. And then inhale, bring the whole thing up. Turn the feet. And we'll take the other side. So check your alignment. Front heel in line with the back arch. And back toes turned in. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, coming into warrior two. Placing the forearm, left forearm to the right thigh. I like to use my forearm to take the quadricep muscles away from the torso towards the knee, kind of give it a little massage stroke out, and then also press down into the forearm and draw those muscles back, help with that external rotation of the thigh as we start to move the torso forward. And then if you like, you can take the arm up and over, and you might take the arm down to a block or to the floor. Just notice, how is it on this side? How does one side compare with the other? And then as you're ready, inhale, bring the whole thing up. Exhale, bring it back. We'll come down to the floor, and guess what? Same action. Take your blanket with you. A little propping up for your hips. Extend both legs long. Take the hands to your sides and press down, lift up the chest. This right here might be too much for you. You might want to keep the knees bent as you do this, that's fine. We're looking for some length and opening in the low back, right? So give yourself the help to do that. If that's bent knees, absolutely. If your hamstrings and low back are a little more open, you'll extend the legs long. We're going to bend the right knee now. Take hold behind the right knee as you draw it in. So it helps you give some space. Draw the calf and the thigh away from the knee. And then turn the knee out to the side. So it's kind of like tree pose. You might have the foot low down against the leg, or the right foot all the way in, depending on how open you are in your hip and your knee, right? So take that where you need it to be. And you see when you begin to do that the torso migrates over a little bit towards the right. So we want to lift up and square forward over the left leg. From here, we're going to inhale, long spine, and then exhale, begin to fold forward over the leg. Maybe that's too much. If it is, you'll just work on sitting up right here. And if coming forward is okay, really keep that nice length as you go. Continuing to move the right ribs forward faster than the left ribs come forward. So there's a little bit of a twist in this pose. Whereas before we were bringing our attention to the outer hip, to the buttock, now let's bring our attention to that low band of the back ribs, right where they end. How is that musculature doing? See if you can bring a little bit of space, a little bit of breath there. And as you're ready, coming on up, draw that right knee in and extend the leg long again. And give your knees a little bit of a massage with your hands, just warm them up a little bit. And then taking hold behind the left knee, bend the left knee, and move the calf flesh away from the hamstring flesh so that you open up the back of that knee as you draw it in, and then take the knee out to the side. And it might be up in towards the groins, it might be more towards the knee or towards the calf. Square yourself forward so that you can come evenly over the right leg. Inhale, find some length, and exhale, begin to draw forward from the sternum. Finding length before you fold. You'll see where you come. Let your pose be guided from inside. Let your internal messages give you the wisdom of where you need to be in the pose, right? So looking at my body is helpful only insofar as it provides maybe just a basic map. But really the map of the terrain is you're looking for your own terrain. And so the pose will necessarily have a different outer appearance. So find that length, and once again bring your awareness to that low band of the back ribs. And notice, how was this on the other side versus on this side? And do I tend to favor one quadrant of my back? Is one side tighter than the other? Just see what information you can gather. And then as you're ready, if you haven't already, release. Of course, you can stay longer if you're feeling really happy and loving it there. Let's take the blanket and fold it to this fold. So you have a little bit of height on it, and put it about halfway down your mat. And we're going to take a low bridge, so the buttocks, low back is going to come to rest on the blanket as we come down. Lift the hips, press into the feet, lengthen the tailbone toward your heels or toward your knees. Find some length for the low back, and then place it down. So you can use the blanket or you could use the block. If you want to be a little bit higher, you can take a different level of the block. And if it's available to you in the shoulders, take the arms and extend them overhead. And just trying to find a little bit of length through the low back. Let the abdominal organs settle to the back body. And if you like, take the right knee in toward the chest, give it a hug, and extend, flex through that left foot and dig the heel in as you extend the leg long. Just send that heel forward. And then draw that left leg back in. Take the right foot down. Hug the left knee in. See that the hips stay even. Flex through that right foot and dig that heel as you send it forward into length. Starting to open up the hip flexors a little bit. Give it a little counter stretch to some of what we were doing today. And then release that right foot back in and hug both knees into the chest. And breathe. So favoring neither right nor left, just hugging evenly in. And then take the hands away from the knees and to the blanket. See if you can sort of wriggle yourself off the blanket. And take the blanket a little further down to where the thighs are or the knees. And extend those legs long. I like to have the blanket sometimes right at the root of the thigh where it meets the buttock. It can be really nice. Let the legs be wide. Allow the palms to turn up. Have the hands about 8 to 10 inches away from the body. And tuck your shoulder blades under you. Just tuck your wings in. Allow your neck to be long. The back of your head to be heavy. And if you're wearing glasses, you can remove them. Allow the mind to settle. Allow the body to settle into a few moments of total stillness. There's nothing that you need to do and nowhere you need to be right now. Allow the eyes to close if it's comfortable. And let the nervous system just do its work of receiving what your efforts, practicing surrender. And begin to come back to the surface, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Take a nice yawn, sigh, stretching, everything open. And take your time to come up to a comfortable seat. As we close out our practice this day, taking a kavanah into the week of holding this verse, chapter 37, verse 4, this little piece of the verse, Velo yachlu dabru leshalom. And they were not able to speak peacefully, to speak words of peace, to get along. And just noticing in your own body, in your own interactions, where there's any kind of favoritism. We vow to ourselves to reverse that so that we can get along, we can speak words of wholesomeness and shlemut. And taking a hand to your chest, just putting it over the heart, and then take the other hand, place it on top of the first hand. Feeling the rise of the chest into your hands, feeling the warmth of your hands toward your own beating, luminous, beautiful heart. Making a khatima, a seal for your practice by taking a couple of deep breaths and full exhales. When you're ready, release your hands and allow your eyes to open. Shavua Tov and a very happy Thanksgiving to all. I want to suggest a couple of things you can do in this week of Thanksgiving if you've been grateful for these teachings from IJS, for this class in particular and for other classes. Please tell your friends. If you're grateful for what you receive, please share with people you know and invite them to come. We want to grow our yoga community. We love it here. So please invite friends in a spirit of Thanksgiving. And as well, if you'd like to make a donation to IJS in any amount, it is happily received. We offer our weekly offerings free of charge. Always, they should be open to all, and your donations help to make more things available. So it is good. Hodul Adonai ki tov. It's good to express thanks. I'm here for another 10 minutes or so for questions, thoughts, reactions to your practice. So please feel free to use the hand-raising function, or you can put a question in the side chat. And I really want to especially hear from new people, from those I've not heard from before. So please be courageous. Raise your hand. Janet, let's start with you. Good to see you.
I didn't raise my hand. I was trying to just write in the chat. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving. We're grateful for so much here in El Paso on the border. Many lives are stagnant and in the crosshairs. So hope you all have a wonderful and grateful Thanksgiving. Thank you, Lizzie.
Thank you, Janet. Stay well. Irina and then Marta. Irina, you have to unmute. I don't hear you.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted. Thank you so much for the beautiful practice. I really appreciated it. And I have a question. It was very curious to me how difficult it was to balance in the supine position, lying down on my side. And so I have some pain in both of my hips. So I had a blanket under me, but just a double blanket. It wasn't horribly soft. So I was wondering if maybe that was contributing, or really, my question is, what muscles should I have been paying attention to stay on, in that quiet place on my hip?
Irina, it's a great question. Yeah, sometimes like if the hip is bony or uncomfortable, it's good to put some padding under. I've been asking myself the same question because I was practicing it and thinking, yeah, wow, this is so hard. Why do I keep rolling over? The all the stabilization muscles of the core are involved, I think, more than we think, and we feel it much more on the floor than we do standing. Standing, it just seems to be like a fight between the hip and the knee. And we get really caught up in that, and also just the balance on our we think it's the balance on our foot. But those core stabilizers, like how I always say, bring your foot into your leg and your leg against your foot. It's this action that kind of rises up through the pelvic floor and the core. That's my take on that, and how you find, like, sometimes you might be in an abdominal class and they'll say zip up your abs, like really feel that you have like a girdle sort of structure. That's the core muscles stabilizing you. That's what I think.
Okay.
I hope that's helpful. Continue to work with that and see how that goes for you.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Thank you.
Good. Marta and then Jared.
Hey, Izzy, thanks. I think I could add some insight to this.
Please.
Because when I first started like doing the yoga with you, like I had absolutely no balance because I've had a hip replacement on my left and I have no cartilage in both of my knees. So essentially I will need knee replacements. So I couldn't stand up and I couldn't do it. And what was so helpful, so now I'm standing completely in tree pose, and I can balance with my hand here and I can totally balance with my hand up. And it's because of when you said to tuck the hip in. And so obviously I have a little bit more weakness in my left, but I think it's those small muscles, the little small muscles, as well as the abs, that have helped me tremendously. When you started saying, like on Sunday, tuck your right butt in, that made the world of difference for me. And I just want to thank you so much for that, because I feel like, I've just come such a long way for all the limitations that I have. I get off and I tell my friend, I feel like a pretzel.
That's awesome. That's such a win. That's great. And I'm delighted to be the teacher who tells you to tuck your butt in.
Thank you so much.
In the safest way possible. Jared, hi.
Hello. I don't know if my mic is.
You're on.
Okay.
You're on air.
Thank you for putting this on. My wife came across it and shared it with me. And just with everything, obviously, I don't know if you guys heard the things in the Midwest last night, just a horrible tragedy. My body's been crying out for some yoga. I've been doing it for years, on and off, but just having you guys to do it with made it that much easier. And I just want to thank you for just doing it. And I look forward to continuing going forward.
So glad. Welcome. And thanks for saying hi. And always really glad to hear how it's helping to stabilize you and give you some blessing and ability to handle what's.
And I really enjoyed the Parsha. Thank you so much.
Good. I'm a big fan of Bereshit. I'm happy all the way until about mid-February anyway. What else? I like what Rachel said over here. Interesting to relate Jacob's sons to the IFS parts of me. Yeah, looking at my Shimon, Levi, and Reuven parts, how to speak peacefully to them, and to notice favoring the gotta look good part. Yes, all of us. And get it all done and drop it well parts. Gonna sit with this. It feels fruitful. Yeah. I really highly recommend some of the writings and video. There's a lot of video out there too on internal family systems, and maybe some of the therapists among us can speak to it well more than I can, but there's some good videos with Dick Schwartz himself and some good writing too by a guy named Jay Early. So it's a nice way that we can look at what's going on inside. And I know that his teachings are really related to yogic thought. Actually, there's always this idea of the self with the small s and the self with the large s in Sanskrit. Prakriti and Purusha, it doesn't matter the Sanskrit terms, but the one that's, sort of capital S, all-knowing awareness that we can witness and hold, kind of whatever all the moving parts are, all the pieces of the system, it's held in a greater awareness, right? And that's what we do always in our sitting practice, right? Holding it in sense of divine awareness that has a view of the whole picture and remains well no matter what's going on. Any other takeaways or questions or thoughts today?
Yeah, Lizzie, I wanted to share with you something that I've been doing. This is Sarah. I've been getting different. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I can't see you, so I'm looking for you. Usually it shows me
I came in late.
So there you are. Good. Go ahead.
So what I've been doing is collecting blankets and rolling them up. And recently I've been using it behind my neck to lower and raise me into some of the positions, which is so nice because I don't have to use those muscles, but I am using those muscles. So don't get me wrong. I'm not favoring it too much, but I have 2 or 3 or 4 of these now and I'm collecting them. And I just think it's a wonderful add-on to the blocks.
Good. Yes. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. Anything that you can use to help support what needs. I often will keep different size balls and a washcloth and a hand towel and that kind of blankets. Great. I think our work is rich in this parasha. Sending you all a lot of love. Happy Thanksgiving for everyone who's celebrating Thanksgiving this week. And we'll be back next week. And by then, it's Chanukah. So wishing you a good week, a good Thanksgiving, Shabbat Shalom, Happy Chanukah, all the things. Stay well, stay safe. And, I'll just add, they say, if you feel enlightened, go visit your family. So if you're feeling in any way that applies, use your yoga practice this week. Let it help you. And remember, all these are on YouTube and you can find them. So if you need a little support this week as you're around your family, and we all love our family, I do too, but it can, just as the parasha shows us, it can bring up a lot. So help support yourself. And I wish you well. Stay well.
Was the name you mentioned Jay Early?
Jay Early, like early in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, but the founder of IFS, Internal Family Systems, is Richard Schwartz.
That
Dick
one I
Schwartz.
know. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks
yes,
so
sure.
much. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.